New build and new year in 2022 in Wichita, Kansas. That's what we're going to talk about today. So before I get into all that, got to do the usual stuff: like, comment, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. But we're going to talk about new builds and what that's like in Wichita and what that process looks like. So let me go ahead and share my screen. I got some visuals to kind of show you guys to best understand this. So first thing I'm going to go over to is if you go to our website, wichitahomehero.com, which I'm going to refresh just to give you an idea. Right when you go to the front homepage like this, here at the top you have buy/build, and we're going to be talking about how do I build a home. So if you go to this page, honestly, there's a lot of things on here that can help you understand every different level and step of the way. But we have our 6-step process, and really what you're looking at is it's really like a depending on the builder, 8 to 12 month process from contract to finish. So obviously you might have a house you need to sell first, then rent while your house is getting built, which is what a lot of people do. But here's basically the 6 different steps. But what I'm going to go over today is this new build process overview here, to give you an idea of what you can expect, in the new build process overview. How many different things you need to accomplish in order to build a home in Wichita, because a lot more people are going the new build route, just because, one, the retail options aren't there. They can cash out on their current house, and then they're making a long-term decision to stay in a certain area for a long time, which is typically what most people do with new builds. So the first thing you're doing is what you're doing right now is exploring and learning financial figures, communities, and builders. There's several different new build communities in Wichita. If you Google it, you'll find a lot of different areas. There's also a good amount of neighborhoods you can search in here on our website, or if you want to be in a particular like city, you can look that way too. So it just depends on how detailed you want to get with it, and how in depth you want to go. Now, here's how it works for new builds: is certain areas only allow you to build with certain builders because the developer wants to maintain quality control in that area, and you have to go with a certain builder. So if you decide I'm going to go the new build route, this is where you want to start engaging me as your purchase agent, because having a construction background is where I really know the product and the thing that we're engaging in. Not to mention I'm a life coach, and I've been a realtor for coming up on 6 years now and sold hundreds of deals with this, and new build is one of the things that probably the most qualified at, just because I understand the process and the material and the situations, everything, and all the different steps along the way. And there's a lot of decisions to be made here along the way. Which one of the first ones you do is, let's say you want to go build in, let's take Edgewater, for example, on the west side. You would go there and check out some of their models, see what builders are available. And basically what you start with is a floor plan and a model of home. And then from there, they can start tweaking things off of their base price and spec price, start adding things, removing things, what have you, to where you can meet with the builder, because a lot of this is going to be your relationship with the builder that you meet with and how comfortable you feel working with him. Because even though I would be involved as your purchase agent, and there'll be a list agent that's typically representing the developer, the builder will be there, doing his side of things, and we're involved, but ultimately it's the builder and you moving forward on these transactions and these build contracts. We're there to guide and advise and set up meetings and keep everything documented, recorded, and in line. And as a purchase agent, it costs you the same as if you didn't have one, so you might as well use one with all that, because the builders are factoring in the cost of paying us as purchase agents to help guide you through this whole process. So once you have a floor plan and model picked out, that's where you'll have the builder price out exact numbers, saying like, oh, I want this added, I want that added, I want this removed, and kind of see where those things come out. And then once you all have a finalized plan that you're all on the same page on, that's where you will, typically you'll want to reserve the lot. There's a particular lot you want before that. And that lot reservation will go towards your down payment, but then you'll sign a builder contract, which is different than a retail real estate contract, because really what you're signing is a construction contract for a scope of work to be done by a contractor, i.e. the builder. on everything. And that'll stipulate all the different routes and procedures and things that can or can't happen in the middle of that process, because typically the builder is going to buy the lot and the builder is going to carry the loan until it's finished. And then you'll use your pre-qual in order to buy that house. So anyway, so that's where you go into the builder contract. They're a lot longer than your normal contract. Just did one recently that was 50 pages long. So there's a lot to read through, a lot to consider. But again, that's where you have a quality agent, quality realtor that really can guide you and help you through, all the different ins and outs of all that. And so once you have all that signed and completed, this is where you have to typically put a good amount of earnest money down, basically as security for the builder to engage in all this, to secure the loan, get everything started. We'll turn in the contract to your lender, their lender, and there's a lot of different financial pieces that got to go through, underwriting and actually purchasing and closing on that lot to be in the builder's possession and not in the developer's possession. And then from there, that's where it's kind of a hurry up and wait process, because it will take a while to get the foundation and the basement done. So digging the foundation doesn't take that long. It's just that there's a lack of basically excavation companies in Wichita to dig basements. And so it's getting them out there that might take a while, and then also following the basement foundation guys to get out there and pour those. Another reason is there isn't a lot of basement foundation contractors to complete that work. And part of that is because just the concrete forms cost so much. Cheap ones are 60 grand and the, more quality ones are like 200 grand, and that's for one basement foundation form. So you can see why there aren't a lot of companies that do that. So we're kind of at the mercy of waiting for those two bigger items at the start, and then once it starts getting framed, that's where it starts going a lot faster. But in the meantime of all that going on, this is when we're starting to do your initial product selection meetings. So like for your roofing, your windows, your doors, your hardware, your fixtures, you're going through all these different initial product selections as far as like what's in allowance, what's in the budget for what the builder quoted you out on these numbers here. Now, if you go above that, there'll be an additional price, there'll be an overage and / or a change order. And that's where I will help you to consult with the list agent to understand where these prices are coming from, because it's not like you just go to Lowe's or Home Depot or Menards or somewhere like that and just whatever the price is on the sticker is what the charge is, because that builder's got to factor in the price to get the material, the labor to install the material, and then his overhead for what he makes on that product. And just so you know, a lot of that stuff, the realtors are not making any money on. When you have overages and upcharges, we typically get paid on the base price of everything. So we get paid for the service that we deliver, not upselling you on, nicer and fancier upgrades and anything like that. We don't actually make any money as realtors on that. The builder does a little bit, but more than anything, he's just working it in to be able to finance it in. Otherwise, you have to pay cash out of pocket, pay labor, get it all installed differently. And honestly, most builders just aren't really good with that, because you hired them to build the house. So anyway, once you get all your initial product selection done, it'll go through a lending and underwriting process for everything, and you'll have an appraisal per the plan and the contract. Now, obviously, things aren't done, things aren't fully completed, but the appraiser will look at it from a distance to see if what you guys are building will work out. 99% of the time, these things appraise and work out. It's just a matter of meeting whatever requirements the lender and the underwriter and the appraiser want to see in order for all this to go through. Because in all reality, what I've figured out over time in real estate is that new builds set the bar for appraisals, and more or less whatever new builds are built and cost is what they appraise at. Whatever the builder charges is what will be financed in, as long as you're a strong financial borrower on everything. Typically new builds appraise at whatever the price is that you give them. So from there, construction starts. You dig the basement, pour the foundation. That's going to be the thing that you're going to be waiting on the longest. But then once it gets framed and roofed, then things go pretty fast from there. Framing and roofing goes next. Then you're going to install windows next to your doors, siding and deck installation, rough and electrical, HVAC, plumbing, and you'll have some walkthroughs for these. Like before you do electrical, before you do plumbing, you'll do a walkthrough to see, do you want to add in, additional outlets? Do you want to add in a fan here instead of just a light? All those different considerations. Once you actually have the structure built, walk through, see if you want to add or change anything at that point. And then typically before you get into the sheetrock phase is you want to have all of your selection meetings done. So that means all of your cabinetry, all of your countertops, tile, paint, flooring, all those things need to be picked out. And that's where working with an interior designer really helps to piece everything together. I have a pretty good construction background and somewhat of a keen eye for interior design, but I have no means have a degree in it. And most of the material suppliers that offer these products have an interior designer on staff that you can meet with, and they can help you color coordinate the entire palette that goes with everything. And this is something where I'll come with you to these meetings to help offer any guidance, advice, just be involved. I'm not going to interfere in any way or be overbearing. It's more of an attitude of just offer any guidance that you might need from me or any questions you have. And really a lot of it's just to record and document to make sure everybody's on the same page and everything, keep it all in line, appropriately type of thing. Typically your list agent isn't going to do that. They're not going to go with you these selection meetings. They're not going to be as helpful or as attentive just because they have so many different listings going on in that development. They just don't have the time to give you the customer service and attention that you'd want, that you're expecting from them, that they won't deliver. They can't. It's not possible. They don't have the time to do all that. So once the selection meetings are done, then you'll go into more of the finish phase, which is insulate and sheetrock. All your cabinetry, cabinets, doors, trim, countertops and tile go in. Paint, flooring is last, and then touch-ups, and then well, sprinkler, sod, landscape, then appliances. And then we'll do a final walkthrough, punch list, things like that. Appraiser will have to come back out, do his reassessment, and then we'll do a final walkthrough of everything, make sure it's all good, make sure there's nothing missed, because the thing is with new builds is they're not prone to not having problems either, because none of this stuff's been used. There's things that get missed, things happen, but this is where you'll have a builder warranty for 1 year after the new build is done. Anything you have that goes wrong, something happens, they'll come out and fix or address whatever needs to be done. Like whether that be light bulbs, paint touch-ups they missed, flooring's not clicking together, some appliances isn't working, what have you. You still have that assurance that, if there's any kinks that need to be worked out, the builder's still going to work those out. It's not like they're just done and closed and see you, your problem now at this point. So that should give you a little more in-depth understanding of what the new build process looks like. Again, that's about an 8 to 12 month process from contract, where to go, the signed builder contract to close. Give you an idea. A lot of times people are looking at, selling their house and then renting for about a year in order to accomplish this. Although that might be a little bit painful to be in a rental for a year, it's not as painful as trying to move and everything else in the meantime. It's one of the most feasible financial ways to do it too, to get into a new build and to get the house exactly like you want, because they typically cost about the same as like a spec home that a builder just goes and builds and puts on the market. But that hopefully gives you an idea better of, if you're looking at building a new house in the new year, kind of the process, everything gets started. We can start discussing that now in the month of December and January, so that maybe you want to get your house on the market January, February, March, and start this process with us. Let me know, but hopefully this has been insightful on how doing a new build works for the new year. Appreciate you watching as always, and hopefully talk to you soon. See ya.